Hello, everyone. I'm Sam Eckmann of Gold Derby here with Tony nominee NaTasha Yvette Williams for Some Like It Hot. And NaTasha, congratulations on your first Tony nomination, first of all.
Thank you so very much. I'd love hearing you say that in front of my name. Wow.
I saw a pretty incredible video on social media of you reacting to your nomination in real time with your cast surrounding you. Walk us through that moment. What goes through your head when you hear your name called?
So many things. I mean, the moment before it happens, you're like, okay, this is another year of not hearing your name, and then just preparing yourself mentally for not to hear it. So then when I heard it, I don't know. I'm crying like I am now. I'm crying every other step these days. But it was just a very surreal moment and a realized dream, just something I've been wanting for a long time, but in protecting myself and not allowing myself to expect it. You know what I mean? Just like keeping my hopes high, but my expectations low. And it just was a wonderful feeling, and one that I can't even really describe. And I just had to question if it was real, if it was really happening, or if it was a part of some dream that I was having.
Well, it's real. It's not a dream. You're really here, and you're nominated for playing Sweet Sue in Some Like It Hot. And you get to open the show. You set the tone for this entire musical with What Are You Thirsty For? What is it like being tasked with setting the whole tone for the evening?
It's an incredible honor to do it, but it's also very challenging. No matter what I'm feeling like or have been through that day or that week, I have the responsibility of inviting people to our show and asking them what are they thirsty for, what is it they're seeking in the audience, and inviting them to go on the journey with us, to let them know we're going to give it to you. Whatever it is you want, we've got it here. And I love it. I love doing it, and I love having to make sure that I'm up and ready for the challenge before the show starts, so that we all can get off to a good start.
I think one of the reasons she pops so much on stage is she's kind of a rarity for this time period. She is a woman who has said, I'm going to set out on my own, making my own band, doing the hard work myself. What does that say about her as a character? How do you use that in your performance?
She's extremely strong and inventive and creative, smart, very smart, and very cautious at times too, but nurturing. She's taking these women on a journey and wants to care for them as they care for her, and as they add to her life and give her life meaning, and those kinds of things. Sweet Sue is the epitome of womanhood. She's taking care of people, but she's also creating a way, creating a path of openness, in spite of any kind of challenges she might have, in spite of the dangers of being on the road with women. And some of the characters have chosen, like, this one can read, this one can't read. This one doesn't read music, but knows how to play by ear. And we've got all these individual women with their individual challenges that Sue has sort of mastered and understands. And there's just two women that she doesn't quite get all of the parts of, but she's very intrigued by them and wants to be around them and wants to make this journey work. So I love being Sweet Sue, and I love all the challenges that we get to each day, because every day everybody feels a little different. So it sort of grows as we go.
I previously talked with Casey and Matt and Amber and about kind of the reinvention and looking at these characters. And Sweet Sue, I think, is reinvented because in the movie, she's barely in the movie, frankly. Did you go back and watch that? Was it helpful?
I did. No, because I'd seen the movie and loved the movie before, but it wasn't something that I knew, verbatim. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I remember this movie. I love this movie. Let me watch and remember who Sweet Sue is. And so I watched it and I was like, oh, okay. And I've got, looking at my, the sides, I was like, I got 3 scenes here and 3 songs for the audition. So clearly they're doing more with Sweet Sue in the musical than they did in the show. I think what they ended up doing was combining 2 different characters and sort of fleshing it out a little bit more. So Sweet Sue has a lot more to do in the musical than she did in the movie.
Mm. Well, one of the things you get to do is you're tasked with some amazing comedy. I think Matthew Lopez described you to me as a machine gun of comedy, just a rapid fire. And you're doing so alongside great comedic performers like J. Harrison Ghee and Christian Borle. What is it like? What is it like getting to their level with that type of comedic performance?
We're all learning every night. I mean, there's no telling what Christian's going to do, what he's going to say, what smirk he's going to have on his face, so that you have to respond to. And it's just been a great, fun challenge and lesson. I'm having class every night. I'm having class. Sometimes I'm the teacher, sometimes I'm the student, and we all just sort of intertwine and feed off each other. And it's just a beautiful kind of exchange that we've got going on the stage every night at the Schubert Theater.
Yeah. You have a great way of being able to almost throw away a line, like I'm thinking of when you're like, not you, Josephine, to get a great laugh out of it. Was there a particular moment in your career where you realized like, oh, I can do this, I'm funny? Did you have that ever?
Not really, no particular moments. I've had people tell me I'm funny, but I don't know. Sometimes when I'm trying to be funny, I'm not funny, but just my life, I think, is funny. So, but when things happen to you, you just sort of have to figure out how you're going to move through it. And laughter and comedy, I guess, has been that for me. But I don't get a lot of times to be a lot of opportunity to be funny, except in my house when I'm trying to make my kids do something without fussing. So I have to crack on them, I guess.
You bring it to Sweet Sue. And just like any Casey Nicholaw musical, it's such a high energy piece. I mean, just the tip tap trouble alone with the chase scene feels so intense. How do you keep up your stamina and your vocals in that type of intensity?
I don't know that I really have an answer for that. I am learning how to keep that up every day. I've actually developed asthma in the last 2 months. Not developed it, I guess, whatever. I found out I had it and it never had bothered me before. So it's been a particular challenge because my medications are fighting each other. So my asthma medicine helps me breathe, but it also like puts stuff on my cords. So then that messes with my singing voice. But I think we finally got the right combination. But in the beginning, I was like, "Oh my God, I've got to dance. He's gonna use me. He's gonna make me into a dancer, and not just a singer who moves." And so I was very excited about all the stuff that I got to do. But little by little, I was like, "Oh, it's okay if you take me out of this, or it's okay if I don't dance so much on that." Because I just was like, everybody was so tense and their bodies are so articulate, and I'm just like, okay, I gotta breathe. I gotta make sure I can breathe. But everything is so moving and so intricate that tip tap trouble number, that chase is ridiculous. And everything is like time. So I'm learning that I am a dancer, a mover, more than a mover, but not quite a dancer. But it's been very challenging to try to keep up with everybody. And I don't know that I've finessed how to make it all work. But what I do is if there's a problem with my voice or my air, there's a problem with Sue's voice or Sue's air. So she just acknowledges, "Oh, y'all making me yell too much today. I'm hoarse," or whatever. I sort of use that and infuse everything that I need into the character. So if I'm having trouble keeping up with those dancers, y'all go ahead and do that, and I'll stand here, that kind of thing.
That's a convenient character choice to have. You can do that. You can do the tapping. And I think this musical does a great job at kind of weaving in the realities of the time period. Even though it is a fun, entertaining musical, there are several moments that call up the stakes that Sue faces in this world as a Black woman at this time period. What kind of conversations were you having about that kind of element? What did that do for you?
Yeah. I think we in the very beginning, everybody on the creative team was very just intentional about how how they wanted to point up diversity in this cast and inclusion and all of the spaces that were not necessarily welcoming at the time, how to introduce that, but not beat people over the head with the messages or the time period that we were in. Being sensitive to this 2023 audience that deserves to know that there's space for everyone. I think our creators were very intentional in that, and they dispelled that. We had conversations around making sure that while Sue is strong, she's also in this time period, and she understands that there's certain places she's not welcome. She understands that there's certain ways she has to speak to certain people. So we sort of weave that in, and we sort of play with it a little bit. We add a line or two, just addressing, guys, this is me leading the band during Prohibition, without saying we can't do certain things. You know what I mean? Without saying what that means. It sort of just helps the audience frame it for the audience without us lamenting over the difficulties of the time. Because in actuality, to move through it, that was the difficult part, having to figure out how to navigate each situation without making it be a situation. So that's what we're doing with the show, and that's what people who survived during that time did as well. So it's an homage to both.
Yeah, and you're part of a really incredible group of people with Black Theater United.
Yes.
What has that experience given you?
Oh my God, Black Theater United has taught me that I don't know, prior to the murder of George Floyd, which was when Black Theater United was formed after that horrific act. I think I was very much a part of a group that went along to get along, basically. I've had injustices to me, and I've had a great career, but I've had things happen to me that were not cool, that created harm in my life that I didn't say anything about. Because I thought, well, I have this position, I have this place, let me not make it difficult for other people to have it later. So Black Theater United has taught me that while there is a way to articulate anything you want to say, and you don't have to take anything, take any injustice, you don't have to be the sojourner for peace by allowing yourself to be harmed. And so that's what Black Theater United has given me, that I can be an advocate for other people, and I can also advocate for myself, because I think I shied away from that. I'm from North Carolina, and I don't know if I'm not saying everybody in North Carolina is taught this, but you got some very messed up ideals going on in North Carolina. And one of which is self-sacrifice, as opposed to self-care or even self-preservation. We just sort of don't talk about stuff. Oh, bless her heart, that kind of stereotypical kind of thing where we're constantly trying to take care of other people. And sometimes that means negating yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'll give you my piece of bread and I'm hungry, instead of breaking the bread. You know what I mean? Instead of halving the bread or whatever. So that I found that I think I was that person as a performer as well. I'm gonna give you the whole thing, and I might leave myself hungry. Black Theater United has sort of pushed me into a place of, you can't do that. Put your mask on first, for the plane. You know, put that oxygen mask on first so that you don't pass out before you can help other people. So that's what Black Theater United has taught me. We have to stand up for those that don't have a voice and use what we have to help make things better for everybody, because there's room for everyone. And so I love Black Theater United, and I love what we stand for in terms of just trying to make our spaces equal and representative of all of us.
And I think that's a great thing that Some Like It Hot accomplishes by, just presenting these really great characterizations of Black identities, of queer, non-binary identities to an audience within a show that is very joyous, I would say.
Mhm.
What do you hope that, audiences who walk in, maybe they're not even expecting that with this show, what do you hope
Mhm.
they take away from it?
I hope they take away the idea that there is room for everyone, and that maybe I should look at how I'm treating others. I hope they take away, I hope they say, wow, that person is different from me, but like me. And so, how can I welcome more people into my life and into my space? And how rich would that be if I if I listened, if I just listened to someone else rather than judging, rather than having opinion formed already? How rich would that make my life if I just listened to others? I hope that's what they take away.
Very well put.
Mhm.
Before I let you go, I've seen you play a lot of great roles on Broadway,
Mhm.
and you've gotten this Tony nomination, which is a bucket list item, I think, for most
Yeah.
actors. What else is left on your wish list? Is there anything that you haven't done on Broadway that you're
Oh,
dying to
wow.
do?
There's lots of stuff I haven't. I've done a little bit of television and film. I want to continue to do that. Want to do more of that. I'm a writer. I wrote a movie. I'd love to get my movie produced and out there. And I want to do more Broadway. I want to do shows every year. I want to star in musicals. I would love for a full-figured woman to be the lead in some play somewhere, some musical somewhere. All of that. I want to do just about everything. I want to do it and I want to create it for others to do. Um, so the sky's the limit.
Well, hopefully this is just the start of that journey. So thank you,
Yes.
NaTasha, so much for sitting with
Thank you,
me.
Sam.
If you're out there, make sure you subscribe to Cold Derby. Keep with us the rest of this season. NaTasha, thanks again.
Thank you. Bye.